Opening statements have started. Sam Bankman-Fried back in court. He is the disgraced founder of the collapsed FTX cryptocurrency exchange. He's 31 years old. He's accused of orchestrating a massive scheme where he turned billions of dollars of customer money into political contributions, into real estate, into other investments. But it all came crashing down when a run on deposits forced FTX to shut down withdrawals, leaving about an $8 billion of customer money missing. So Sam Bankman-Fried is facing numerous federal charges, including wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering. Let's bring in Rachel Fizet, a Los Angeles-based criminal defense attorney, to help break this down for us. Rachel, thanks for being with us. Now, his defense team has hinted that they're going to evoke this, quote, advice of counsel defense. Kind of explain what that really means to real people.
The advice of counsel defense means that Sam Bankman-Fried is going to say, I was only doing what my lawyers said I could do. And it's rarely invoked because advice of counsel is generally privileged, which means whatever people talk to their lawyers about is confidential and not privy to be used in evidence or against them. But in this instance, what he is saying he will do is waive that confidentiality and waive that privilege between himself and his lawyers to say that he was running things by them, he was doing the right thing, and he was simply doing what his lawyers said it was legal to do. So we'll see how this plays out, because it means his lawyers will be able to testify on whether they did or did not say that and what kinds of questions he was actually asking them.
All right, so Rachel, how much of a hurdle or a potential hurdle will it be that his former colleagues are set to testify against him?
Oh, right. He has 3 former colleagues that have already agreed to cooperate against him. And what they will say is that he was making knowing misrepresentations. Now, this is a cryptocurrency case, but what it really is at its heart is just plain old fraud. So Sam Bankman-Fried and his defense will try to make it difficult in cryptocurrency and that he was too young to really understand the gravity of his actions. And I think the prosecution and the witnesses testifying against him will say the opposite, that he absolutely knew that he was making misrepresentations at the time he was collecting the money and that he was using it in ways that he was not disclosing. And that is what the general gist of this case will.
Well, and this kind of falls in line with that. But, obviously before his downfall, he made numerous television appearances. He was posting on social media, and many kind of just thought his attitude was, that maybe the rules didn't necessarily apply to him. He was this young billionaire. Is that all potentially going to work against him?
Of course it is. And we've seen the Elizabeth Holmes trial play out as well. And these are young hotshots coming up with the next big, amazing thing. And so people are getting sucked into that, like the whiz kid and all of the things that go along with becoming a billionaire prior to being 30 years old. And that's what is going to be used against him, because they're just going to show that he was knowingly lying to reap the benefits of the money that was being invested in his company.
All right. So, Rachel, based on everything that you know so far, which side has the more uphill battle in this case? Is it the defense or, is it actually the prosecution?
I think in this case, because they are following the money and they will follow the money where it went, I think the defense has a difficult time with overcoming the misappropriation and the general taking of the money for personal use. I think that is hard for them to defend.
All right, Rachel Fizet, we certainly appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.